welcome to all of you who have come. Looks like we have 24 on so far. We'll have more people joining as we go. My name is Livingston Keithley. I am a volunteer with the Denver Area Council. I serve as the council membership chairman. So let me be the first to welcome you here to our second kickoff night for our summer join night extravaganza. Many of you received an invitation from your district executive over the past week to 10 days telling you that the council is starting a new initiative this year to advance when we start our membership recruiting drive. Traditionally, we do this in the fall, but this year, for various reasons, we've decided to move our start date up to right now. There are three main reasons for doing that. First and foremost, obviously, many of us are still at home due to the coronavirus and the safer at home orders. Because of that, many of us, myself included, have children here at home who were expecting to be going down to camp this year or to go to tennis camp or soccer camp or something else outside the house, and all of those have been canceled. So families are looking for activities to do, and they're looking for activities that they can do with their children at their homes that will help enrich their children, give their children activities, teach them greater skills and greater leadership opportunities. These are all the things that Scouting already teaches. And so we thought, what better way than to give these families right now an activity they can do with their children at home than to invite them today to join Scouting. We don't have to wait until August or September or October like we traditionally do at the start of the school year, because those families need us now, and they're looking for activities to do right now. The second reason to advance this is because we want to emphasize recruiting and retention. We want to give every person the opportunity to participate in Scouting, and want to do that right now. One of my favorite district executives used to say, we always want to put the outing in Scouting and give the opportunity to every single student in every single school district the opportunity to be part of our great organization. All of us are already here. We want to spread that around. We also want to help emphasize retention with our existing people. Doing our join night activities now gives our units an opportunity to reach out to new people, but also to bring their current people into the fold and get them active, get them doing things. The third reason to advance the summer recruitment plan is because about 3 weeks ago, it was announced at the annual national meeting that National is increasing dues starting August 1st for members, and it is going to be instituting a new one-time fee. It's a minimal annual due increase. It's only a $6 increase that they're going to institute on August 1st for members. But anyone who joins after August 1st will have to pay that additional amount. The bigger reason is because the other fee, and it's a new fee that's being imposed by National, is a one-time $25 new member fee. For every youth that joins, they have to pay a one-time $25 fee, and that starts on August 1st. So as we started talking about it here in the Denver Area Council, we said, well, what better opportunity to go out and recruit new people now than to tell them if they join today, they can avoid those fees. So those are the three main reasons we want to start our recruiting efforts now. We're reaching out to you, the units, and our activities tonight is like any other usual kickoff night we have historically done in the August or September timeframe. We want to talk to you about the opportunities where the council can help you for recruiting, the opportunities to do a socially distanced outdoor recruiting night if you choose to do one in person, but also to talk about a brand new plan that the council has put together to help assist you and your unit in doing a virtual sign-up night right here through Zoom or some other online program. So with that, we've got many of the staff who have worked very hard over the past 2 weeks to put these types of plans together on the line. Eric Peterson is our Director of Field Service. He's directing things tonight and making sure the trains run on time. We also have Elisa Thurston and Willie Rochester to talk to you. They're two district executives and district directors to talk to you about our plan to help enhance Cub Scout recruiting for this summer, this June and July summer effort. So let me turn it over to Elisa first, and she'll talk about some of the keys to successful recruitment in this virtual online world.
Awesome. My name is Elisa Thurston. I am the district director for the Alpine District. So I have the pleasure of introducing you to some of the things that we are going to be doing to make sure that this is successful. You'll recognize a lot of these elements from some of our recruitment plans in the past. We've just retooled a lot of them to make sure that they're more successful for the world we live in today. So first and foremost, hopefully you have heard about a Be a Scout pin. So if you are able to multitask and you want to log into beascout.org, you'll find a website where people can type in their zip code, and then pins show up all over the map of Cub Scout packs, Boy Scout troops, and venturing crews that are in their area. So wherever you are across the United States, you can put in your zip code to beascout.org and see all of those pins. We've been talking to units about updating their pins for a little while, and you'll notice through the course of this presentation how important that's going to be. A lot of our roundtables had a PowerPoint presentation on how to update your pin. I won't go into that right now, but if those are resources that you need, if that's something where you're just not as technologically savvy as other people might be, we can definitely walk you through that and help you get that set up. What your Be a Scout pin does is that it provides basic information to community members about where your pack meets, what they do, and contact information, which is so important. The reason that we want to use these Be a Scout pins is that then we can provide some large-scale promotions that are going to be beneficial no matter where people see them. So for example, if there's a family that's traveling on their way through and they might see a yard sign that says beascout.org as they pass through Grand Junction to get to their destination in Montrose, they'll still be able to access beascout.org and find their pack. If there's a parent who works all the way up in Broomfield and lives down in Highlands Ranch, seeing those promotions is still going to be helpful to them, and they'll be able to find information quickly on beascout.org. The other thing it does is that you're going to be able to update information on that real time. So for example, if your pack or your troop decides to have an open house or an activity on a Tuesday night, and that date comes and goes, you can go into your pin and you can update it with your next activity. You can update it with the Zoom link that you're going to use for your next activity online. Whatever that is. If your Cub Master moves out of town and suddenly you have a new contact, you can update that right away and let people know that they can still contact you. Along with that, all of our promotions on a large level are going to be based off of Be a Scout. So I'm going to ask Eric to share his screen and get ready to show us one of our cool videos that we've got. So our national office has produced some really awesome videos. They're very short. They're about 10 seconds long that you can share on your social media. You could share them in an email as a link. You could encourage your scouts to share them with their friends. So Eric, are you ready to show that video? Awesome. So as you can see, it's just a really, really short message that can pop up on somebody's social media, on their Instagram, wherever that is, and people get the message that they can find scouting near them at beascout.org. Some of the other things that we're doing, one of them is called geofencing. You may have heard about this in years past. So our national office is paying for geofencing for certain areas. So in the past, what we have done is we have said, you have a sign-up night on August 23rd. The 2 weeks before that, we'll do a geofence around your school. What that means is that we draw an imaginary little fence around that school or that neighborhood. And anytime somebody in our designated demographic, which is basically adults who are of the age to have children that are Cub Scout aged, they would see that advertisement for scouting pop up on their social media. Because of the way things are going right now, not a whole lot of people are traveling to schools, and we're not necessarily going to have a lot of lead time on when our activities are because so many things are closed or are pending, or we're just a little bit up in the air. So we're looking at different areas that we can geofence. One big one is our supermarkets. That might be a place where if somebody goes to the supermarket, their social media records that they were in that area. They open up their phone and they would see an advertisement that says, find your local pack on beascout.org. A lot of you live in a variety of different neighborhoods. Maybe you know that there's a hub in your neighborhood for families that we're not necessarily aware of. Maybe that's a local church or a community center or a park. Maybe you have a sports tournament that's coming up. Each of your communities are going to be so different. I think geofencing in particular is going to be really helpful for our Western Slope, where your communities are just a little bit more accessible to us in this geofencing way. They're going to be able to get on and to see, you know, some information about a pack that's near them, and they say, oh, I know where that is. As opposed to the metro area where you might be traveling through areas that you don't necessarily live. So in a little bit later on in the presentation, we'll talk about how to make sure you have the correct information for geofencing. We're going to do 2 rounds. The first round is going to be strictly generic, beascout.org in areas that we've identified in your zip codes all across the council. The second round will be more specific, so you have time to say, I'm having an activity this date, I'm having a virtual activity this date, or this is a specific place that I want this targeted messaging to go. Some of the other things, these are all going to be pretty familiar to you: flyers, posters, and yard signs. In the past, we've been able to hand out flyers at elementary schools. We've been able to put up posters in different areas. Again, not a whole lot going on at our schools right now, and there's not necessarily going to be a whole lot going on there for a while that we're able to access. What we want to do is retool them just a little bit. So all of our packs are going to be able to order flyers, posters, and yard signs. The messaging is going to be very, very basic of contact information for your unit, go to beascout.org. If you haven't noticed the theme yet of beascout.org, it's really going to be key this year. On the yard signs, I'm very excited in particular that we'll have our yard signs. They say, join scouting, beascout.org. It does have our council phone number in case somebody wants to call in. And then we'll print you a sticker that has your unit number on it. So for example, all of the parents in your troop might get a yard sign that says Troop 200. You all put them in your yards. And then as people drive around your neighborhood or they see them out and about, they might say, oh, I know that that's Dave's house. And if his kid is in Troop 200, that's where I want my kid to be. Or it might strike up that conversation. Or they might say, that's where Nick's son goes. And I don't want to be in that pack because Nick's son is a little crazy. Just kidding. They wouldn't say that. So you might have some of those opportunities. Our hope is that there's only a handful of us here at the office, but there are so many thousands of you, awesome volunteers, both on this call, in our districts, and in our units. If everybody does a little bit, we can really get the message of scouting out there. I had somebody ask me just yesterday, is scouting still a thing? And I was like, yes, I really hope so, because this is what I do all the time. But getting the message out there that scouting is active, scouting is available, and scouting is in their neighborhood. So we want to get that Be a Scout message out there as much as possible. The last thing on marketing is a little bit new. We're calling it the Akela's Invite a Friend Challenge. Some neighborhoods, I know the neighborhood I grew up in, we used to do different activities called, like at Halloween time, we would do You've Been Booed, or at Valentine's Day, we would do Heart Attacks, where we would write fun little messages and we would deliver little bags of treats to our friends and basically doorbell ditch them, but in a really positive way. We want to do the same thing, but inviting them to scouting. So we have templates for this Invite a Friend challenge. So the idea is that your scouts, especially your Cub Scouts, can get out into their neighborhoods, identify 2 or 3 people they want to invite to join scouting with them, and drop off maybe some extra patches, some extra candy you have left over, just a couple little goodies for their friends to enjoy. And again, that Invite a Friend challenge sign is going to direct people to go to beascout.org. Your scouts can write a little message that says, I would love for you to join me in pack 123 or whatever, and then they can help them find that on beascout.org. So we're hoping that every pack is going to, first and foremost, update their Be a Scout pin, and then choose at least 2 or 3 things that you can do. Can you have every parent in your pack put out 1 flyer somewhere? Can you have all of your troop leadership put out a yard sign? Pick 2 or 3 things. And like I said, if everybody does a little bit, we can really make a big impact here. The next step for our Keys to Success is going to be our sign-up events. So there's going to be an option for you to do it in person or virtual. They're both going to be a similar format that is different than what we have done before. So they're both going to be multi-station methods. What this does is that it allows parents, first, if they're in person, it allows them to social distance a little bit by going to different stations to learn what's happening with your pack. It also breaks down the information into more bite-sized pieces than a big presentation does, and it allows people to come and go as their schedule allows. So we have a short video, it's about 3 minutes, that will help you see what that looks like. I think that it does a much better job than I can do explaining it to you in words. So if we can get our technology guru to get that link set up, that would be awesome.
If you could just fill in the information right
Welcome to our executive list. We have a calendar
fill in the
that you can stick
information
right on your refrigerator. We also have uniforming information.
So this is, that's what you wear.
Well, we got them all in there for you, so you can see all levels. We give you one of our Boys Life little mini bags. When you subscribe to this, they're still just $1 a month. So when you subscribe to that, they're the regular size. But my son loves that. He always watches the mailbox every month, and it's great stuff. So I'm so happy that you guys are here with our bag. And what I need to do right now is that's our new station, and he's going to help you get signed up. Thank y'all so much.
Welcome everyone. I'm so glad to have you all here today. My name is Martez and I'm the commissioner here. What that means is I'm simply here to help. The first thing I want to help you all with is some information about how our pack is structured. Let me go ahead and pass this out to you all. We're going to go ladies first here, if that's okay, gentlemen. Excellent.
Thank you, sir.
All right, what I'm going to ask you all to do is read over this over the next week. And we're going to come back next week. We're going to have our parents meeting. We're going to talk about the structure. So we got the text. Hello. I find that our pack is structured similar to what you'll find in a Fortune 500 company. Now, any of you parents know why we would structure a Cub Scout pack that way?
For success.
For success. Fortune 500 companies are successful. What else comes to mind? Organization, absolutely. Let me ask you this, ma'am. How important is it to you that the pack you put your son or daughter in is successful?
It's very important.
What about organized? How important is that?
Pretty important too, yeah.
You guys agree?
Absolutely.
So in order to have that, we're going to make sure that first we understand what the structure is, and we're going to come back next week as parents, and we're going to discuss all the spots that we have, and we're going to make sure that we have the structure that your boys and daughters deserve. Is that fair?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Now I know why you guys really are here. You're really excited about getting your son or daughter enrolled in the best youth serving program, the Boy Scouts of America. Is that right? I have exactly what you need. This is the official application for the Boy Scouts of America.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask you to take this over to the table over here to my left. You're going to have to fill this one out, and then you'll proceed on to the next station. And guys, remember this. My name is Martez. I'm the commissioner. I'm here to help. Thank you, guys.
Next week, right here at 7 o'clock, and then we're going to have a parents meeting. Make sure to bring the kids with you, because at that point, the kids are going to go off with one of our den leaders, some activities for them.
I already told you that we're going to have a meeting next week. At the same time, right here, we're going to split you guys up. We're going to have the kids program and parents will have an orientation. So you can come and ask all kind of questions you may have, because we give you lots of handouts this evening. And again, before you leave, as you walk out, meet your den leaders. They're right outside the door right here, getting ready to meet you guys. Well, any other questions you may have for me?
Awesome. So I shared a link to that specific video in the chat, just in case you want to show that to anyone in your pack. So one of the really great parts of this multi-station method is that you can tailor it a little bit to your pack. But I would highly recommend, first and foremost, that you strip it down to the essential things about your pack. What do they really need to know the first day? And then the next key to success that is so important and unfortunately is so often overlooked is our parent orientation. Again, this year there's so much uncertainty as to what we're going to be able to do, where we're going to be able to meet, that we want you to be prepared to do this virtually if necessary. So we encourage you to put together some sort of welcome video from your unit, or maybe it's an email or some kind, or even it's a live Zoom call where you can have all of your new parents join together, make it short, make it informative. One of the other keys that I would highly recommend for you is that you do some basic things to make sure that you're successful. If your pack is like a lot of the ones that I work with, the summertime is a time that you might get a little bit disorganized. You maybe had unit leadership that transitioned. You might have just, you know, everything's kind of happening at the same time. As you're coming back, you may not have your full year of scouting detailed and outlined, but you might have some of those basic key things that you can tell people. Put together a schedule. I think that's so important, is people know what the next thing is coming up. Even if you don't know all of the details yet, you might not know who is running your Pinewood Derby or what the theme is going to be this year, but you probably know when it is this year. You know at least what month. So include some of those details. And like I said, just keep it simple for our parents. You think about the very first time you walked into scouting. Maybe you were 8 years old yourself. Maybe you were a parent with an 8-year-old and you weren't really sure what was going on. So make it as simple as possible to make it as accessible to these new parents as possible. Those are, like I said, the 3 main keys to success. And I really need to emphasize that they're all so important. The main thing that we need to be doing right now, though, and as soon as possible, is getting that promotion out there. And hopefully over time, you can consecutively have some more sign-up events. You can have some onboarding that's just kind of rotating and encourage people to join anytime throughout the year. I'm going to turn it back over to Livingston. He's going to talk a little bit about what the districts and the council is doing to support you in your efforts.
All right, thank you, Elisa. Obviously, a lot of different things that you and your unit can be working on, but I want to talk to you about the support that the council and the districts want to be able to give you so you can have a successful join season, even though you're doing it now and even though you're doing it while staying safer at home. We're not just expecting PACs to go out and find new youth just for the sake of finding new youth. We want to make sure that you're successful in what you're doing and that you have the resources that you need to be able to do that. We're putting together plans both at the district level and at the council level to be able to make sure you have what you need. At the district level, you're already coming to the first thing, which is this training. The districts have successfully promoted this council-wide training so that you can come and listen and hear about how to
put on by the Denver Council.
A virtual training. So you can be able to hear this and see exactly what type of opportunities there are for you. A second thing that, let me talk a little bit about what the council is putting together for you. Elisa talked a little bit about geofencing. Your district membership chairs are going to be reaching out to your unit to find out the locations that you want to put a geofence around and what dates are the best for you to put that geofence around something. As Elisa described, all a geofence is, it's through Facebook, and we've been doing it for a couple of years, and National has been gracious enough to underwrite our ability to do it again this year. But what it is when someone goes to your local supermarket, to your King Soopers or Safeway, or to the hardware store, or other places that people are still visiting, we can put an electronic fence there that if they have Facebook on their phone and they go into the store, it pops up with an alert about when your unit is going to have its join night and where that join night is going to be. One very nice feature that is new this year is that the promotion through that geofence notification, they can promote a physical meeting that you're having, like if you're having a meeting at a church or a school or a park, but they can also promote an online recruiting event. It can have a link in that pop-up to say, click here for more information. Keep that in mind as you're talking with your district executive and giving them the information they need for the promotion. Another thing is that both the council and the district program committees are trying to put together better programs this year, and we're trying to work hand in hand with them to turn some of those program opportunities into recruiting events as well. As you may have heard, some of the day camps that we traditionally do with our Cub Scouts are being pushed back into the summer. They're going to be back in the August and September and early October timeframe. One of the things that we want to do is promote those as well to also be recruiting events, to be an event that existing Cub Scouts can invite people to and be able to sign up on site to become part of Scouting. Another thing is, if you've ever been to Colorado Adventure Point, you've seen those 3 or 4 buses that are always lined up in the parking lot out front. One of the things we're starting to put together right now is scouting in a van. We want to put kits into those buses, into those vans, and be able to send them around to strategic places throughout the city when we know there are going to be join nights, to have scouting activities that can come straight out, and you can do a recruiting event right there, and you can have a scouting activity pre-built and ready to go. If you're interested in that, please definitely talk with your district executive about doing that. The last thing, as always, your unit has your unit commissioner. We have a fantastic commissioner team that is run by our district commissioners and overseen by our council commissioner, Dave Carlson, who's on the call tonight, who are working very hard to make sure you have the resources you need and that they're answering the questions you have. If you have a question about anything from tonight's presentation or something didn't make sense, your commissioner is your first line to say, I didn't quite catch that, and can we get more information? Because they're working with us to make this a successful event. Let's step aside now and talk a little bit about what the next steps are for your unit. What do you need to do to start planning your recruiting event right now so that you can do a recruiting event between now and the end of July, so that your potential new scouts and new families don't have to pay the increased fees and can start experiencing scouting today? Let me introduce Willie Rochester from the Centennial District. He's going to talk a little bit about kind of the next steps of what you should be looking at. Willie?
Thanks, Livingston. So first thing, if you guys haven't looked at the agenda, we actually have these action items for the pack on the agenda. And so the first thing is, and it's the top number one task, is to order your materials so that we can start getting promotions. And before that, just like Elisa had said and really hit on, and if you haven't gotten the message yet, beascout.org is the way to go for the future. And we need to be updating that as much as possible and have as much updated information on that website as possible. So the first thing really before you order your materials is to make sure that your Be a Scout pin is updated. This requires one thing, and to make sure that those that are in certain positions, i.e. committee chair, your unit leader, Cub Master or Scout Master or Crew Advisor, and then your charter organization rep all have access through my.scouting to change and to update your Be a Scout pin. That is through your organization manager. So if you go to Be a Scout or go to My.Scouting, to the menu option, you'll see organizational manager. That is how you'll actually update your PIN. Moving on, we do have a new way to order materials. And it's really important that you understand that it's going to be very generic and basic information. So that once the information or once the order has been placed, we need about 72-hour turnaround time to get that ready for you. And you'll have an option once you order to say, do you need delivery, or are you going to be able to come and pick it up at the office? Either way, you need to connect with your district professional. If you have multiple district professionals in your district, sorry about that. So it's very important that we order our materials and we do it quickly. The other part is to encourage everyone to do the Akela Invite a Friend Challenge. We used to have buddy cards or Invite a Friend buddy card. We have taken that away and replaced it with this Akela Challenge. And this is more interactive for your units. And it's more of a back to the pack activity that you could do as well. So we're really encouraging that everyone use those. We'll have the template online as well, but you'll also be able to order those. Promoting our council and district virtual and in-person recruitments. So like Elisa was saying, if you're holding an in-person recruitment and you know that information, please let us know as soon as possible so that we can start geofencing that. But also if you have the ability to hold your own virtual recruitment, please let us know so that we can start promoting that as much as possible and help you with whatever resources that you need to make sure that that's successful. Reviewing your roster. So you'll see on here, it says reviewing your roster with the unit commissioner or your district professional by July 15th. So that is what we call a roster check. And typically that should be done about 3 times a year, once before recharter, once after recharter, and once right before recruitment starts, which would be right now. So it's important to make sure that who you registered or who is actually attending your meetings is actually registered so that we can make sure they're covered under insurance, that we're following the Guide to Safe Scouting. And if you're comfortable of holding an in-person recruitment before July 31st, please let us know, let your district professional know so that we can help you get that done. We consider that a top A priority because August 1st is when the increase happens. So as much as we can get done before August 1st to incentivize people to sign up, that would be great. And then the last part, just remembering that August 1st, if we do not sign people up before August 1st, they will pay 34% more than what a new youth would pay in the program. So this is the opportunity, this is the bird in the hand to get everyone on board, to get your pack behind you, and also to give that outreach to the community. And this is where we can start building some of those relationships after some of our community leaders have gone through, or community businesses have gone through a rough time. So this is our way that we can reach out as well. So those are really the key action item steps. Again, this will be in the guide that we put out, and it'll be on the recruitment resource page for the council website. Other than that, that's all I have. I'm going to throw it to Eric for retention of current Cub Scouts.
Thank you, Willie. Appreciate that. So what, hopefully tonight you've been excited about some of the resources that we have, the things that we're doing to try to keep scouting going. But you might be thinking, okay, this is great, but we may not be prepared right now as a pack to add kids to our program. We're concerned about the current Cub Scouts that we have, and they're not necessarily there. And so what we would like to do is provide an opportunity for you, if you're not able to recruit new Cub Scouts, is to use some of these resources to bring back some of those scouts that maybe aren't as active. You can do the Akela's Invite a Friend Challenge. You might be able to promote some of the council and district activities that Livingston talked about, earning the Summertime Pack Award, or prepare for phase 2 of our Cub Scout recruitment sometime later this year. Now you may be asking, well, what's phase 2? Well, we're not sure. We're in a lot of different phases with this pandemic, and so we do know that there's going to be recruiting later on this year, and so to depending on what we hear from our local government leaders, things like that, that will kind of determine what we're going to do for phase 2 of our Cub Scout recruiting effort. And so, again, I don't want you to be discouraged if you're saying we can't recruit new kids, so we're not ready to do that, and you just want some help in retaining your current Cub Scouts, then please participate in some of these activities as we mentioned. With that, what I'd like to do is turn it back over to Livingston. I know that there's been a few questions on the chat. I think some of those have been answered, but we'll have some time for some questions and answers now. So Livingston.
All right, thank you very much, Eric. So we have had a few questions on the chat. If you want to click on the chat button below, you'll see some of those, but we'll try to answer what we can. I think we've had a question about how to update your Be a Scout pin and how to register for that. And as Willie talked about, you want to first double check and make sure that your unit leadership, your T3, have access to my.scouting and are registered to be able to make changes to that Be a Scout. There's actually a form that I think your district executive can send out to you, kind of giving you a step-by-step on how to do that. All of the information that we've talked about in terms of recruitment resources, whether it be how to update your Be a Scout pin, how to the Akela Invite a Friend Challenge, links to this video, we're going to be posting those on the Denver Area Council website. There's a particular recruitment resources page if you go on the Denver Area Council website, which is denverboyscouts.org. We will put a lot of those materials on there, along with the sign up page where you can go to sign up for registering and ordering your materials. So let's see, if there are other questions, please feel free to raise your hand. Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. On the yard signs, can units, and especially if charter orgs would like to promote their recruitment for their troops as well, can the yard signs be generic enough so that it says, hey, for PAC, this is all K to 12 age youth, PAC and troop, whatever?
So yeah, the yard signs and a lot of the recruiting or the promotional materials are going to be very generic, as we mentioned, just because of how we're going to be needing to be doing this and driving everybody to the beascout.org. So thank you, Elisa.
You would be able to take over the screen.
Oh, if I start saying something, I think I take over. So here's an example of the sign. So it's pretty generic. If you want, we can leave this part blank for you, or we can custom print a label for you with whatever you need. So absolutely, Mike, we would love to promote all of your programs.
Okay, thank you. I had a thought. Can we get little flyers and like inserts like you see on real estate signs where people can actually stop and pick up a piece of paper?
That's definitely an interesting thought. When you fill out your order form, you might ask about putting together some flyers and seeing if there's a way to clip those either at a house when people are walking by or at your chartered organization to be able to do that. I don't think we have any of the little steel boxes, but there may be a way to kind of clip some of those to a sign so people can pick them up and see it. The other thing we can do is you can geofence for as long as you have that sign out in the yard. You can geofence that exact same location, and so it pops up right on their phone, and they can find out more information too.
Maybe I missed it. How do we go about ordering the materials? It's on the Denver website. Is that right?
Yes, it is. And also in the material that you received, there should have been a handout. There's a link on there as well. And if you can't find any of those, just please reach out to one of us or to your district professional, and he or she will be able to provide you that information.
Oh, another question I had was, is there potential to get stickers or something that people can scan their phone with that would go to beascout.org from their phone or something?
Well, Willie is pulling that up on the screen. So if you go out to our website right now, You'll find that there's still the 2019 information. Things are changing quickly, and so we're meeting with our marketing people tomorrow morning to get some of those changes up there. And so don't be discouraged if you go on there and you don't see that updated information. It will be on there shortly.
So Willie is showing you his screen. This is the bottom part of the flyer template, so don't worry, the top will be a fun action picture of scouts having a good time. On your beascout.org pin, every unit has a specific QR code and a specific URL. So that's something we can definitely show you how to utilize. I just added in the chat a little step-by-step guide on how to update your pin. Spend a little bit of time, if there's somebody in your pack that's a little bit more tech savvy, have them go in and play with it a little bit and figure out there's a place where you can find these QR codes specifically. You can share them on, I guess if you're already online, sharing QR codes a little bit weird, but we'll print them on your flyers for you. If that's something that you want, you can use that specific URL to send in an email potentially. So there's a lot of really great things that we have discovered with Be a Scout as we've used it more and more. So that's a really great question. I also, Livingston, I saw that there was a question from Rika about explaining geofencing a little bit. So I'm going to take another stab at explaining geofencing. So it's a little bit confusing and high level, especially for me. So I'm probably the last person that should explain it, but here we go. So what geofencing does is that it uses so Facebook already uses like the GPS on your phone to track where you're going, which is a little bit scary, but we might as well use our powers for good, for scouting. And so it knows, you might have noticed that ads that come up on your phone, I see it a lot on my GPS app, that it says, hey, there's a Taco Bell nearby. And I'm like, maybe I should swing into Taco Bell. So similarly, we are hoping that as people in a targeted demographic are passing through a certain geographic area, so if they're going to be passing within a mile of the church where your pack meets, we want them to know, hey, there's Cub Scouts here at this pack. Most of the time, people are driving by more frequently places close to where they live. So that naturally makes sense. So, you know, maybe, again, it's that church, it's that elementary school, it's places where they frequent that are close to where we have scouting. So that's how that works. It will appear as a sponsored ad on their Facebook feed. So you may have seen those from other companies. You may have experienced I talked about buying a toaster and now my phone keeps showing me toasters. It's similar to that, but it's based off of a geographic area and demographic information about users. So hopefully that explains it. And also somebody asked about QR codes on yard signs, and I believe we could do that, right, Willie?
We're a little limited on our printing capabilities due to mail merging how many QR codes that we have. So we're trying to make this streamlined and simple as possible. So if there are some special customizations that you have that have been done in past years, we may or may not be able to do some of that due to the capacity that we have now and the streamlined process that we've developed. So if you have some specialty things, again, you need to work with your district professional so that we can do a tailored plan for you versus doing the overall council/district plan.
I would be happy to show you how to find your own QR code though. And you can print out as many of those and put them on everybody's car, on your kids' t-shirts, wherever you want them.
Close this out is just to re-emphasize to everybody, thank you for everything you're doing. Thank you for what you do in scouting. Please check out the recruitment resources page on the Denver Area Council website. If you go there right now, we have posted a DAC summer sign-up plan. You should have already received this as part of your invitation, but feel free to go to the website and check that out. All the things we've talked about tonight are posted on the website or will be by this weekend as we get everything uploaded. So definitely check that out. and see what resources are there. If you have any further questions, please contact your unit commissioner or contact your district executive, or you can contact any of the presenters here tonight. We're here to help make sure that you have a successful recruiting season. You're able to give the opportunity of scouting to as many people as possible. So thank you very much for attending tonight. Be great and continue scouting. Thank you.